In this video, what I'd like to do is do a brief presentation and demonstration using Pathway Editor from Lipidomics Gateway. I'll take you through a few of the panels that I've already selected from resources predominantly here at this website. It's a very informative website, tremendous amount of information and resources and potential. And looking under resources, under the overview, you can see there's information. What I'm going to look at are the pathways. We'll show you something about the experimental data, and I think I have one for tools, but anyway, you can click around and find things you want. So under the downloads, the Pathway Editor is there. That's one of the ways that I downloaded it. Another was, you'll see when I come up on this Pathways map page, they have an alternate one for Vanted. And then what I want to do is show you this one first, so you get a sense of the data that we're looking at when we begin to look at the maps in the software. So on this page, after clicking on the tabular, then I scrolled down. What I wanted to look at were the cholesterol, the sterol pathway in this demonstration, but I'm interested in all these others, but today we'll just focus on the sterols. If you click on any one of these pathways, I believe I clicked on this one here, then it takes a little bit. This image here has to, structure image has to load using Java. And it's kind of tricky if you try to load too many. If you display the entire pathway, you can go to the next in the step. And that loaded pretty well. Anyway, you can click on the experimental data here, as I did on the previous one. It's still the CYP51 gene, and then you see the different experiments that they have in their databases here. I think this is the one that we end up looking at for the demo. So they have treatments over different time periods, and they've measured, as you'll see, the various genes in a microarray, as well as the metabolites. And so here's the data itself. So these various studies, when you click on these, you get information about the studies. And then, of course, you click on the PMID, and it takes you to there. And this particular one is the one of interest, showing the cholesterol pathway. This is from the article. We're going to show you what it looks like in lipid maps. So here on the pathways page, you can download and launch the pathway editor. That's how I did it from here. You can look at any of these pathways. When you click on the tabular data, then it shows you the data like this. So these are the analytes that they measured. Notice how few they measured from the actual cholesterol biosynthetic pathway in intermediaries, and then the cholesterol, the terminal one. Oh no, there's a few others up here. Sorry about that. I should have double checked on all that before I mentioned it. Anyway, still limited compared to what we can get with our biosimulations, where we simulate the levels of all these. And then the genes, of course. And again, you have the various time points. So this is a time series study for both the transcriptomics and the metabolomics. And of course, the color scale in here, the black is 0, green to, we'll look at it in a moment when we go to the software. I can't remember if the darker green, yeah, it's the larger. You can see it right here, right? So the darker green is the larger, and of course the darker red is the higher. And then if it's statistically non-significant, in other words equivalent to 1, then it is set at black. So let's go to the software itself, and I'll put this to the full screen. So under File, we go to Open Lipid Pathways. I had already kind of checked on this, so you just click Search, and it automatically pulls all these up. They're not there. This is blank when you first do it. You click Search, and it links through the internet and gets it immediately. So I'm going to get the sterol pathway. We wait for it to download. Okay, and so this shows you the network pathway. starting with acetyl-CoA on the far left, and then going through all the pathways ultimately to cholesterol, and then different outcomes of the cholesterol. Just to remind you, this is our pathway. Oh, I got the wrong one. This isn't the cholesterol pathway. I got the wrong pathway map there. Sorry about that. But anyway, we'll still be able to take a look at it later. So from this point, so that data was included, so we can go to Tools and manage display data, so you can see some information with this. I wanted to view the heat map colors here. See, this is what I like about this one. You can set the values in here, and then you have one that is fixed in the middle. The other free software packages I found didn't let you fix the middle at a set color and then start with the red going up and the green going down. You had to play with things based upon your data set to get it to balance out. Yeah, so the lighter green, I guess, is the still the smallest. Yeah, the greater decrease. Gotta make sense of it there, right? 0.1 is a greater decrease from 1 than is 0.67. Is that correct? Yeah. 0.1 of this value is going to be less than 0.6 of this value. So the lightest green is the greatest decrease. Okay, so what they have here then is you can play the time series data that they had measured based upon those time scales. So you can see the time changing up here, 16, 18, 22, 24, and then 0, and just keeps looping around. You can pause it, you can step, you can go under views here, and I've got high, oh, it can tilt down like this if that helps you, or you can tilt up. Just kind of an interesting thing. There are other functions, of course, for SBML, different tools, managing time course experiments and things like this. So great potential for adaptation. The BioPax reader, SBML, and you can see that you can generate your own pathways from scratch with this as well. So it's a very useful tool. So what we want to do, and this isn't the cholesterol pathway, but want to think about, is this a better way to view these types of pathways? And even at that, there's so much information going on, the change in size and color of this, the change in size and color of the arrows for the genes and the flux through the reactions. And of course, the software I'm demonstrating, pathway, does not measure flux. All they are measuring is metabolite level changes through these time periods and gene expression changes. But the important thing to note is there's a lot of gene expression changes. Of course, they didn't measure a tremendous number of the components in the pathway, but just track desmosterol for instance. Let's go back to 0. So times 0, it's black because there's no change. And we step up to 2 hours, no change. You can see the 25 hydroxycholesterol has already gone way up. DHCR7 has gone down. So this is converting this molecule to this substrate to the desmosterol. We step again, step again, step again, step again, and then suddenly when the gene expression level of the DHCR7 has gone back to 0, then this level is going up. And DHCR24, Sorry, I thought that was acting on the desmosterol. I guess they do have it there. That's going down, and then there's no change here. So, how do you correlate these and think about flux through there? What changes in flux account for all of these shifts when gene expressions are mostly going down? A few up over here, sterol going up, and everything around it is either no change or green. But this is the way that we would want to be able to analyze these types of things. So in the end, is this easier to analyze than this type of a system here? Okay, I'd click pause there somehow. Another interesting feature of this is you can, let's see, tools, create an animated GIF or create an AVI video. So I thought that was kind of cool. To be able to convert this to a standalone video. I didn't attempt it yet, but anyway. These are the uncompressed. Well, let's just set the output directory. I'll send it right to my documents. And start. TIFF image. Okay, I'll just do it. So what's it doing? I guess it's ramping through it. 6, 8. $12, $14. The simulation's going a little bit slower. Actually, they're just flipping between slides, as you know, similar to the PowerPoint thing I was doing. Okay, so I'm just going to stop there and say it's done. Let's see what we can get out of my documents. I don't know what name it gave it. Okay, well, that didn't work so well. Anyway, there's an interesting new software package that allows some types of analyses that would interest us, and just shows us ways of looking at lipomic or lipidomics data.